title of this session is Powerful Communication. Communication is all about guiding a relationship forward, right? So you need the engine on, but you also need the rudder. Think of like a boat. You need the rudder to be guiding it in the right direction. And we use the term powerful because we want to focus on using communication that actually moves things forward rather than just going round and round in circles, right? So powerful communication moves the relationship forward. And the first point here is I prepare myself well before important conversations. Talk to us about that.
Because whatever you do in life, if you're not prepared, you just simply won't nail it. So if you want to get to nail it, then you'd better prepare yourself. And you know, it's so much of what I talk about with people as they get into these conversations and they haven't thought it through. Yeah. They didn't take the time to actually prepare for it. You don't end up just going on your driving lesson without ever having practiced to drive. You simply can't do that. You've got to start practicing.
Not going to go well.
And so it really should be the same thing for our communication. We've got to prepare it to nail it.
Very good.
The second point in the session is I pursue understanding first and agreement second.
Yes, which is really hard to do, right? To focus on that goal when we're in the middle of a conversation, especially if it's a bit of a crunchy moment and the relationship is strained and we just want to get to agreement about how wrong you are and how right I am, right? The sooner we can get to that point of agreement, the better.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we've all experienced how incredibly fruitless that is. Whereas if we can actually have a full course meal of understanding first and treat agreement like the dessert, then we connect, and what ends up happening is we get to turn moments of frustration into deeper connection.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you've got a relationship where you've got two people who are actually focusing in on understanding first, right? Then what ends up happening is every point of frustration that comes along actually ends up turning into a breakthrough of connection, which is so awesome.
And what everybody really wants.
Absolutely,
down inside.
which is so incredibly helpful. And that brings us to our third point, which is I tell you about me, and I let you tell me about you. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's really, really essential. Talk to us about that.
And the more we do that really well and wisely, the more we get to see what's really going on.
Yes.
Because if I think I know about you, then I start talking about you, but I could just be completely wrong because it's not what you're feeling, it's not what you've experienced, then I think we get really lost into the conversation. So the point is, you know, the more we allow each other to speak for ourselves, the more we know what's really going on between us and what's taken place that might have taken us a little bit off course, and we can get back to the point or get back on course, and that's what helps us move forward.
So good, because confusion is the worst.
It is.
Confusion is just a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
So if we can stick to that value, then we can actually see what's really taking place here.
And that leads us to our fourth point, which is I participate in establishing a clear way forward.
I love this one because this means I get to experience new problems rather than experiencing the same problems over and over and over again, which is so incredibly frustrating. If we're doing this well, then we're actually bringing clarity around expectations and commitments. So we're having those uncomfortable conversations where we're looking each other in the eye and we're saying, this is what I expect of you. Is this something that you are committed to? It's uncomfortable, but that means we're actually moving forward. We're thinking about what we're taking responsibility for when we look back, right? And we're apologizing, making things right. We're cleaning up our messes, right?
Yeah.
Because messes are no big deal if we clean them up, right? And so we're constantly healing the points of disconnect, and we're growing and we're moving forward. And that means next week, we don't have the same dumb conversation that we had last week. We're having a new, good conversation, right? Because that's what makes it a good conversation is it's new. And so we're learning, we're moving forward rather than stuck in a cycle going round and round and round. And that is why we love powerful communication, because it's communication that actually moves the relationship forward, which is wonderful.